watching Halton News right here on your TV. It's Monday, November 2nd. I'm your host in for Jessica Kading. Taking a look at our current COVID-19 cases now, there is some good news. The numbers have stayed steady at 247 active cases across the region since last Friday, although numbers are trending in the wrong direction in Oakville. They have 13 new cases since Friday, bringing their total number to 111. Burlington has fared much better, reporting 53 active cases, down from 66. Milton is up 1 case to 55, and Halton Hills is down 1 active case since last Friday at 28. Joseph Brant Hospital is making changes to its COVID-19 testing operations to better serve the Burlington community in colder weather. Starting November 3rd, drive-through testing will be discontinued and all testing will be conducted indoors at the assessment center. This will help protect the health and safety of both the public and the staff over the winter months. The assessment center is easily accessed from the entrance on North Shore Boulevard, with signs clearly directing visitors to the orange entrance doors and the designated parking area. Please arrive at your scheduled time, as parking is limited, and wait in your vehicle until the time of your appointment. If you arrive on foot, please do not enter until your scheduled appointment time. 1 school in Burlington and 1 in Oakville are each reporting coronavirus cases that have led to more classroom closures. The Halton Catholic District School Board is reporting a new case at Corpus Christi Catholic Secondary School that has led them to closing 1 classroom, while a second case at St. Dominic Elementary School off Rebecca Street has led to a second closure there. Well, a provincial mandate about rolling Halton back into Stage 2 has been postponed. Some increased restrictions have been implemented by Burlington around city-owned recreation facilities. In this clip from Burlington Matters, Mayor Miriam Mead Ward talks about how the restrictions are now enforced in private gyms or sports facilities, but any group accessing public rinks and rec centers will have to follow these guidelines.
Talk to us about the recent decision that was made about sports facilities, why that decision was made, and then we'll get into what might change if we are rolled back into Stage 2. Go ahead, Chris.
Great, thank you, Mayor. We followed the recommendations of our medical officer of health, and I know they were basing their decision on what we were seeing in terms of some increases in cases connected to people in close proximity during physical activity. And that would include things such as our fitness areas, as well as our contact sports, that type of thing. So recently, the first recommendation from our MOH was that we look at having indoor fitness classes not operate, but maintain outdoor fitness classes with proper distancing. That was the first recommendation, and that also came with a recommendation to move away from gameplay in indoor team sports and have practices only, skill development, and maintain physical distancing. So when we got that recommendation, we looked at that, of course, to support our community and whatnot. So we implemented those based on the recommendation from our medical officer of health. And that started. So that was maybe 10 days ago. Following that, there was a follow-up recommendation. And with that, the team sport activity being restricted to play or practicing only was extended to being with our outdoor sports fields, etc. So we implemented that. However, what the province also did, or not the province, excuse me, but the region, they allowed dance to be brought back in. They initially said no to dance, so then they allowed that to happen. So we had to go back and tell people that you couldn't do dance, but now you can do dance. So now we're in the process of communicating that with all of our organizations, etc.
So if your team or organization is unsure about current restrictions, you are encouraged to call ahead or check the city's website about the status of the facility. Meanwhile, does the government get enough specific data on a region's COVID cases before making an informed decision to place restrictions? Last week, Halton Region, along with a couple of MPPs and mayors, sent an open letter to the Ford government asking for more transparency when it comes to their decision to place restrictions, such as rolling Halton back into a modified Stage 2. During an update with the media, both Dr. Williams and Associate Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Barbara Yaffe, responded to this open letter by saying the data they depend on to date they get from the individual health units.
regional governments and their boards of health have access to the same data as we do. And they may have more access to more granular data than even we have at their local level. So I'm a little bit surprised to say, well, we didn't know about these numbers when they could ask their medical officer of health who could give them the numbers. So I think there's nothing in secrecy here. We depend on their numbers. It's their health units doing the reporting to us, and we trust their health units to do it.
Well, you asked about are we satisfied with the data that we're getting? Is it enough? I can tell you we get a lot of data, and sometimes you get overwhelmed with data. We have to make sure that the effort put into gathering the data and reporting on the data is a valuable thing. And so we certainly get a lot of data around the burden of illness, severity indicators, hospitalizations, ICU and deaths. And we can break down the deaths, of course, into ages and whether they have underlying illnesses. We also get data on public health system capacity, the number of contacts per case, contact follow-up, and so on, and the healthcare system capacity. One of the things we're hoping to do is the province to do a survey around human behavior, because really it does come down to human behavior, right? Like each and every one of us has to make sure that we do the things we know we should do to prevent transmission of infection. And are we doing them? And of course, then we also get the data on the testing. So there's a lot of data. There's a lot of good information, and we're continuing to monitor and see whether are we getting the right information and should we modify it.
A memorial that has been years in the making was unveiled at the Halton Regional Police Headquarters this morning. Nikki Wesley reports.
November is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month and the Provincial Women Abuse Prevention Month.
Intimate partner violence can take many forms. It can be physical violence, it can be sexual, it can be stalking, and it can be psychological harm. It can occur between same-sex or opposite sex. What we know is that this crime has impacted many, many people, far too many. It has only been in recent decades or so that the collective social conscience has acknowledged intimate partner violence for what it is, a social concern, not a private problem. This social problem has existed for centuries, but by its very nature, it was excused as a private matter left to the discretion of the family units. Thanks to the efforts of many, many people, that attitude is now changing. The first coroner inquest was completed in 1998 as it related to a death in an intimate partner violence incident. This empowered the police to charge individuals that were abusive in relationships when the victim was scared to come forward. This memorial, which was envisioned several years ago, is meant to be a very public testament that intimate partner violence is not acceptable.
It is my honor as Chief of the Halton Regional Police Service to dedicate this memorial to victims of intimate partner violence in Halton and throughout Canada.
After working with Halton Women's Place for the last 30 years, the memorial is a legacy project for recently retired Executive Director Diane Beaulieu.
Over the past 15 years, we have nurtured the relationship between Halton Women's Place and the Halton Regional Police Service and learned how to support those who need us most. Together, we work together. Today, support and collaboration is just a phone call away. Many police services and other shelters don't have the relationship that we have. We are exceptional in our ability to work together and in our ability to support and protect our community. Together, we are working to shatter the silence and secrecy around woman abuse. Today is a meaningful day as we further shatter that silence. The memorial that we have talked about for years is complete.
Halton Regional Police Chief Stephen Tanner shared staggering statistics.
Our community partners here know the personal toll of violence on the family unit, victims, and members of our police service see it firsthand all too often. We have laid 1,600 charges in 2020 year to date, and just last week saw the sentencing to life in prison from a domestic murder in the city of Burlington. Our officers respond on average to more than 9 intimate partner violence calls per day. And we all know that intimate partner violence is often underreported. This past year has introduced new stresses and new hardships to all of our lives. And now, more than ever, victims of intimate partner violence need the wraparound support of our community. In times of isolation, we must show victims that they are not alone and that help is always available. To break the cycle of violence, we must break the cycle of silence. This memorial serves as a pledge to victims that our community will not be silent about intimate partner violence.
Reporting for Halton News, I'm Nikki Wesley.
On November 5th, the provincial government will release the 2020 Ontario budget. Part of the plan on long-term care was released today by Premier Doug Ford. He announced a new standard of care today that will see long-term care residents receive an average of 4 hours of care a day, up from 2 3/4 hours of direct care right now. Great news for both seniors and caregivers.
Put that into perspective, folks. That's over 31% increased care for our loved ones. We're making sure a resident takes their heart medication 3 times a day. A grandparent is getting assistance they need with bathing, a change of clothes, and meals. Or helping mom or dad talk to the grandkids on the phone or on their iPad. To our residents and to their families and caregivers, 4 hours a day will make a world of difference. Across the sector, that means tens of thousands of additional hours of care for our residents. This is the gold standard in the long-term care sector, and we won't settle for anything less. This is a monumental step forward. It will mean hiring thousands and thousands of new support staff, and this historic investment will make Ontario the first jurisdiction in Canada to commit to 4 hours of care.
A 43-year-old Oakville man has gone missing, and his family and Halton police are worried for his safety. Miroslav Latka was last seen October 28th in the area of Neagawa Boulevard and Upper Middle Road in Oakville. He is described as white, 5'9", with a thin build, short brown hair, green eyes, and a goatee. Latka was driving a blue 2008 Ford SUV with Ontario license plates AJTP 427. Anyone with information can call police at 905-825-4747. Royal Canadian Legion branches across Halton have kicked off their Poppy campaign. But for some, it's going to be a little different this year because of COVID-19. Melissa Candelaria reached out to the Legion in Georgetown to see how they will be affected.
The Royal Canadian Legion Branch 120 in Georgetown has gone ahead with their annual Poppy campaign, kicking it off on October the 30th. However, Poppy Chair Ray Clark says they were unable to get their boxes in some key locations in town because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Not being able to go into our mall and our superstore will dramatically affect our bottom line this year. We're normally able to bring in between $20,000 and $25,000 from both of those locations. Unfortunately, we will lose that particular amount. Well, I don't think we'll lose all of it, but we will lose some of it because we're not able to go into those locations this year.
Although the campaign is going to take a hit this year, Clark says it still remains the biggest fundraiser for all Canadian Legions and is asking for your continued support.
Not just here in Ontario, but throughout the whole of our country. The Poppy campaign is beneficial to our veterans, our communities, and to our local hospitals and any of our local organizations like St. John Ambulance and some of the other organizations that we have. Even though some of the locations are not distributing poppies, you can still purchase a poppy or donate to get a poppy at any of our local locations. Here at the Legion, we will be here for the 11 days of the Poppy campaign. So if anyone wants to come in, they can come in and we will let them have a poppy from here at the location.
Reporting for Halton News, I'm Melissa Candelaria.
Burlington Ward 2 Councillor Lisa Kearns was at the Burlington Legion during Fish and Chips Night on Friday to help spread awareness of how citizens can safely participate in Remembrance Day.
Because we usually come together to pay our respects to our veterans who fought so hard for our freedom and democracy through our annual Remembrance Day parade. It happens on Brant Street and it finishes off at our cenotaph. We want to invite everyone to stay home and stay safe and tune in virtually to this Remembrance Day service that will be happening on Remembrance Day at 11 o'clock in the morning. Hi, good evening everyone. I hope you're enjoying your beautiful fish and chips. These window placards are intended to be displayed in your window to show our support for our veterans as we start to approach Remembrance Day. If you didn't come today and would like your own window placard, you can download one at lisakearns.com, and it's a PDF that you can print out and proudly display in your own window.
You can watch the Burlington Remembrance Day ceremony on the Legion's website, burlingtonlegion.com. And don't forget to tune into our Halton-wide Remembrance Day coverage, starting with the Naval Sunrise Ceremony at 9 a.m. right here on your TV. Thanks for being with us here on Halton News. We need to take a short break, but we'll be right back. Welcome back to Halton News. This year's Wallet to Wealth Gala is coming up on November 12th. Like everything these days, it's going virtual. The annual event raised $15,000 for Halton's Women's Place last year, and they are looking to double that this year. Joining me now is Tony Harris-Taylor, this year's MC and closing speaker. Thank you for joining us. Can you please share with us why this event is important to you?
So thank you so much for having me from Houston, Texas. So hey, y'all from down under. I think that, well, first of all, I had the privilege of being a part of it last year. And when Whitney asked me to be a part of it again, I just jumped on the opportunity because the cause is amazing. I am a product of experiencing abuse, growing up in an abusive home as a child myself. And so this actually is very an important cause. And so that's why I said yes again, to be the MC and to be able to bring some good energy. That's the word that everybody brings, because even though it's a sad cause, it is actually good to see that people can make it out of that and then be able to have a successful life anyway.
For those viewers who didn't have the pleasure of attending last year, can you tell us what to expect from this event?
You absolutely should get a ticket. The stories of inspiration, motivation, education, transformation, the connections that are made, the people speak from their heart. They keep it, they're transparent, they're very real. And not only that, but it goes to help a good cause, and especially the moms with children. This event is going to be amazing. We have a great lineup this year, and we'll have so many wonderful stories that you'll be able to engage with. And we hope that you'll come away with feeling inspired and knowing that even though your journey may have taken you on a different path, you can come out of it and be successful.
Thanks so much for your time. Sounds like an amazing event. Looking ahead at the 5-day forecast, Tuesday looks like the only sticking point in an otherwise beautiful week. A 40% chance of rain and a high of only 8. But the sun returns on Wednesday with a high of 16. Thursday, some clouds at a high of 16 again. 17 and sunny on Friday, and 15 and partly cloudy on Saturday. Not bad at all for the beginning of November. To business now, and to help support local business, the Town of Oakville's temporary patio program has been extended to December 31st. Meanwhile, Burlington's City Council held a special meeting today to authorize the temporary use of public property for restaurant patios until the end of October 2021. And now let's take a look at today's closing markets. Thank you for joining us here on Halton News. We need to take a short break, but we'll be right back with an update from the Burlington Food Bank. Welcome back to Halton News right here on your TV. I'm Sherry Ford in for Jessica Kading. The Burlington Food Bank has been providing us with updates during the pandemic. Today's installment is a feel-good story about local athletes stepping up and helping out during this unprecedented time of need.
Hi, I'm Rob Bailey, the Executive Director of the Burlington Food Bank, and I'm here with, as we know them, as 3 hockey players and a soccer player, but their actual names are
George,
Tristan,
Jason, Nathan.
And they've been doing food drives for us for, I think, 4 weeks now.
Yeah, 4 weeks.
What made you guys want to do this?
Originally it was for volunteer hours. Just gonna put that out there. And then we found out that we actually all have enough. So we did it the first time. We're like, oh yeah, this is actually really fun. We get to drive around with our friends, pick up food, you know. So we figured out we have enough, but we were like, you know what, we'll just keep doing it. It's fun, right? Giving food to people is so fun. So yeah.
Yeah. And it's been a huge benefit to us because it's a time where we actually need food.
Yeah.
I think we just totaled you guys up for the four weeks. Do you guys remember what I told you it was?
987.
Yeah, 987 pounds.
987 pounds.
So they're going to go find 13 pounds of something so they can hit 1,000. Fantastic. Thank you guys so much. And I think the thing for us lately is just seeing so many young people like yourselves that are starting to step up and do lots of really great things in the community. I don't know if you guys have been part of the gift and giving back in the past or not, but it's one of those things where we're seeing young people do just incredible things here in Burlington. So thank you guys so much for doing that.
No problem.
And that's it for Halton News. For more information or to catch more stories, head to our website, yourtv.tv, or email us at haltonnews@cogeco.com. But before we say goodbye, we'd like to show you some video of the little ghosts and goblins that were out and about at film.ca for the Trunk or Treat event for Halloween. The trick-or-treating looked a little different this year, but everyone seemed to have fun anyway.